Hello and welcome to another weekly news recap about the Philippines. If you guys want to see daily news content, check out my second news channel. I've left a link in the description and in the comments. Go over there, subscribe if you want to get daily news about the Philippines. But this is what happened this week. In this video, I'll tell you about the Chinese Coast Guard using water cannons against a Philippine supply ship, yet again injuring 3 people. Iloilo City declaring an outbreak of pertussis, also known as whooping cough. A man passes away for electrocuting himself for using electrical cords to go fishing, but a man who shot his son after an argument with his wife. Pertussis, also known as whooping cough, reaching the Visayas, Mandaue, and Lapu-Lapu City, and a Chinese official claiming that journalists have manipulated the footage of the Chinese Coast Guard using water cannons. A 2-year-old and a 3-year-old found in a car. A Filipino singer taking care of a 2-month-old baby after pausing his concert. Plastic driver's licenses finally being issued again very soon. The Philippines president says that Filipinos do not yield. This is in response to China's recent aggression in the seas. 2 Filipino environmental activists that were abducted in broad daylight last week have been located. Thailand passes a landmark marriage law that allows same-sex individuals to be married. It's Holy Week, so it's Good Friday right now across the country in the Philippines. You might see many rituals, traditions, performances being played out all over social media, maybe in your neighborhood. Of course, these are traditions and practices in commemoration of the Lord's Passion. You'll see these all across the country. The Bureau of Immigration of the Philippines barring 4 foreigners, 3 Americans, and 1 British man from entering the Philippines. I'll tell you the failed plot of some people trying to dig up the remains of a 2-year-old dead. Department of Transportation saying they want to remove some of the chairs from the arrival hall in Terminal 3 at Naya International Airport to reduce congestion. A woman being by a robber. I'll tell you about the Bohol Loop, tourism being shut down due to a local's death. Canada giving away free contraceptive to all women, and more. 3 Navy personnel have been hurt in this maneuver and aggression from the Chinese Coast Guard vessel who fired water cannons against like a civilian ship that has been contracted by the Philippines Navy to go ahead and resupply their operations. Now, this is not the first time. This is the second time in just the past couple weeks. I think this can be a very problematic thing moving forward because the Philippines is not going to back down against the proclaimed Chinese zones. The Philippines are saying this is our right to go ahead and do this, and China is trying to push them back using these tactics. I'm very curious to see what happens in this story in the future. Our next story, a construction worker was perished after he was electrocuted by a live wire that he used to catch fish in Toledo City, Cebu. Next story is of Cebu City South Terminal bus drivers. 50 of them were tested randomly and none of them came back positive for drugs. If you don't know, recently there's been lots of collisions and passing of people on the road in tourist vans, etc. So this drug test, I assume, is in regards or due to these recent collisions, and because of the Holy Week coming up, everybody's trying to make sure we're safe on the roads, and none of these drivers tested positive. A man 28 years old who has suffered injuries and passed away now because father him. Apparently the son and the mother were having an argument where the son took a piece of wood and hit his father in the neck, which swelled up. Then the father grabbed his weapon and the boy who passed away. He is 28 years old, the son, and the father is 63 years old. This happened in Cebu City. Apparently it was not the first time these 2 had an argument. Pertussis claimed lives of 6 infants in central Visayas. Last week, Iloilo and Quezon City declared an outbreak, and I guess this has spread to the Visaya region. It's a bacterial infection which actually starts off with a cough that goes on to 2 weeks, eventually a fever. 2 boys aged 2 and 3 were found lifeless inside a maroon Toyota Vios around 1:50 p.m. Responders said that they were covered in blood. This took place in Angela City. Initial reports say that the kids were playing around the car at 9:30 a.m. It is presumed that they got themselves into the car, locked themselves in there without being able to get out. The bodies were discovered by Fermin Pamintuan, the car owner, as he was preparing to leave for work. Local authorities reported the cause of death as asphyxia by suffocation and that there was no foul play. What an unfortunate event. The mother and the father actually are very suspicious. They want another autopsy. They don't believe that to be the incident. Also, why was there blood on the kids? And they say they were full of bruises as well. Not here to speculate, but maybe there will be a second autopsy I am not sure at this moment. Many social media users also had some suspicions, so we'll have to wait and see what happened with the story. Singer Juan Carlos paused his concert to take care of a 2-month-old baby from the crowd. I think this happened a few days ago, but now it's making the rounds on social media, and people are really praising him for taking care of the baby instead of his concert. So what had happened was, during his concert, he noticed an infant in the crowd that was crying, and he asked how old is the baby, and someone said 2 months old. Like, whoa, 2 months old. Basically was concerned that before the age of 1, kids have very sensitive hearing, and basically saying to prioritize, of course, your children, especially infants, before a concert. So now he's getting a lot of praise on social media. Let me know your thoughts on that matter. I mean, I don't have kids, but I think if I did, I'll try to prioritize their safety instead of hearing a singer. But then there's always circumstances that we don't know about. Maybe the babysitter last minute canceled, or they were here just to pick somebody up and they brought the baby in there. I have no clue about why the parents did that, but I know for me personally, I think I would like to prioritize my infant 2-month baby over a concert. But that's just me. I am glad that the Filipino singer was responsible enough to actually mention it instead of just carrying on. I don't have a driver's license, a Filipino one, but I've heard a lot of people talk about getting only paper copies for the past year in the Philippines. And now that I read the story, I kind of understand why it was happening. To me, it was just like, oh, they're out of plastic cards. But I'm like, why would they be out for so long? And now it makes sense. There was a legal dispute between the plastic card issuer and I guess the LTO, and now that's been kind of put away. Now they can start issuing plastic cards starting April 15th. So that's great news for those of you carrying paper. I'll put the link to this full story in the description if you guys want to see all the details about the lawsuit and everything else. So yeah, good stuff. Plastic driver's license, April 15th. The president of the Philippines has said recently, and I quote, "We seek no conflict with any nation, more so nations that purport and claim to be our friends, but we will not be cowed into silence, submission, or subservience. Filipinos do not yield." I'm curious to see what kind of measures he puts in place, because I see no basically backing down from China. They've been doing stuff like this for a long time, not just in the ocean, but on land. If you don't know, with Pakistan and I know all these other countries, they always try to start shit. It just seems like, excuse my language, but I'm going to be me on this channel, so I'm going to tell you my opinion on some of these stories. You may take it whichever way you want, but I feel like China is always pushing the boundaries of playing in the gray area and like just testing people when they really shouldn't be. I do see this as an act of an aggression. If you saw these videos, you would definitely agree. So I'm personally curious to see what happens moving forward with this. Environmental activists Jack and Eco were abducted in broad daylight last week. I quote, "We are relieved to confirm that environmental rights defenders, church workers Francisco Eco Dangla and Jack Tiong are no longer in the hands of their abductors, bruised but alive," a fact-finding team said. The team did not provide details about what happened to Dangla and Tiong during the time they were missing. The Bureau of Immigration of the Philippines barring 4 foreigners, 3 Americans, and 1 British man from entering the Philippines from all over the world, basically Dubai, Guam, and other places, because there are at some point in their lives. They've been put on the blacklist of the Philippines. I'll leave the link down below if you want to get into details of what they did and what they've been convicted of. Of course, if you're going to behave that way, you're going to be barred from the Philippines and blacklisted. I'm sure many other countries as well. So if you're coming to the Philippines, you better be on your best behavior, not just because it's the right thing to do, but the Philippines are going to ban you and you have to just fly back on your own money and just behave. And speaking of behavioral stuff, another Russian person got into a drunk fight in Thailand. I know it's a whole different thing, but it just puts me on the same kind of, mindset. If you're coming anywhere in any country, if you're a visitor, traveler, or guest, even if you're a citizen of that country, try to behave. You're all grown-ups, I know sometimes having too much alcohol can lead to some bad choices. The Philippines Coast Guard just said that their website was hacked. So around 12:30 p.m. on March 29th, an unknown entity has gained access on the official Facebook page of the Philippines Coast Guard. I wonder who that could be. Leave your comments down below. In Cotabato City, Philippines, a group of people try to recover and unbury the remains of a child. This is because there are superstitious, fanatic residents of Coronadal City in the nearby town of South Cotabato who believe that parts of a human lifeless body that has not decomposed yet are powerful amulets if collected on Holy Friday. Next up, Transportation Secretary Jamie Batista said that during his inspection of the Terminal 3 arrivals in Naya International Airport, he noticed a lot of people sitting on chairs. So now he is recommending and planning on removing some of those chairs. and you won't believe why. He thinks by doing this, it's going to reduce congestion. And he's also saying that people should not come to the airport, try to pick up passengers. Some people bring an entire family, 10 or more people, when they're just trying to pick up one or two passengers. Now, I agree with what he's trying to do to reduce congestion in arrival halls in the airport, but to remove chairs because people were sitting on it sounds a little counterproductive, I want to say. I mean, people don't go to the airport just to sit on chairs. You know what I mean? They're just going to be sitting on the floor or standing up. Let me know your comments down below. I want to know what your thoughts are on his plan to reduce congestion by simply removing some chairs from the arrival hall. Also, he doesn't want you talking about those bed bugs and those other infestations that are happening in Naya International Airport. I mean, he must be new to the internet, because anytime you try to suppress anything, it'll just go viral or at least get more attention and eyes on the topic. I feel like he's slightly out of touch with reality. You know, people like himself and other officials, they bypass all the stuff that regular people go through and to get on a plane or to visit people or to pick them up and all that. Bohol suspends motor tourism activity after resident's death in Bohol Loop 2024. So the Bohol Loop is a motor tourist activity over 600 kilometers where people of any a riding skill, whether male, female, they basically try to promote Bohol tourism. It's not a race. They don't give out awards or anything, but you can ride a motorcycle through certain designated areas to explore Bohol. And unfortunately, somebody passed away. Now the Bohol government's shutting down that tourism activity for 2024. Next, a story of a brave woman who resisted a robber in Cebu City. Apparently, the burglar came on a jeepney, tried to grab her purse. She resisted, and that's when the went off, hitting her in the neck. She is in stable condition in a private hospital at the moment. Anyways, what is a person doing trying to rob somebody on a jeepney with a Come on. The Bureau of Immigration warned the public about another trafficking scheme luring women to work and trade abroad. On Sunday, the BI said that they stopped a female victim and her supposed partner on March 22nd from departing for Kota in Sabah, Malaysia, via the Ninoy Aquino International Airport. They claimed to be living partners traveling for a vacation. The immigration officer noted that the male companion had a very recent travel to Malaysia. A quick check of his records revealed that he previously left with another female who claimed she was also his partner, but who has not returned to the Philippines to date. The victim was turned over to the Anti-Agency Council Against Trafficking for assistance, while the trafficker faces possible cases for violation of the expanded Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act. Here's one of those reasons why Bureau of Immigration in the Philippines is very strict when you try to take your girlfriend or partner out of the country for even a small or short vacation. That's why sometimes it's really, really agitating for those proper normal relationship people in love that just want to travel, compared to people like this that try to abuse Filipino women. I'm very proud of this immigration officer that was able to prevent another woman being a victim of this whole scheme. In some international news, women in Canada will be able to get their contraceptives for free. Staying within the region, Thailand has passed a landmark marriage law. Thailand's parliament passed a landmark marriage equality bill. Once the law is approved by the Senate and the King, the country will become the first in Southeast Asia to legalize same-sex marriage. I feel like Thailand is like a land of paradoxes, you know? They say there's no prostitution, even though it's like the biggest red light district in the world, but yet they go ahead and do this, and then they legalize marijuana, and you know, if I'm very familiar with Thailand, I'd say, and they're really they try to play this like balance game between perception, saving face, and actual practicality, if that makes any sense. Let me know your thoughts on any of the stories I've shared so far. Staying in Thailand, the small town of Chiang Mai in northern part of Thailand has been ranked the most polluted city in the world. Here are the list of the top 10. Let's see if we know some of these places together. So Chiang Mai is number 1, Delhi, Hanoi, Kathmandu, Munich. What? That's a surprise to me. I have no idea that Munich was one of the most polluted cities. The thing is, I understand why Chiang Mai, actually I've been to all 5 of the top 5 cities in the world, even if I spent a few days or when I was younger. And Germany, I only spent a day going through it to go to Austria. And Kathmandu, I was a kid, so I can't really recall. Delhi was recently, Hanoi was recently, and Chiang Mai, I've been there a couple times. Chiang Mai, I understand because the burning season is huge there. The burn the crops, the farmers and all that, they want to go ahead and make room or space or land for the new crops of the year. But I'm surprised Munich is in there. Indonesia, Medan, I had never heard of that. Dhaka, Bangladesh, Cairo, Yangon, and Jakarta. I've been to I'm surprised. I've been to many of these places, not to flex or nothing, but it's interesting to see. I've been traveling to some of the polluted places in case something does happen to my lungs. We all know why. And United Airlines flight diverted after passengers tried to upgrade themselves to a business class. A United Airlines flight headed to Israel had to be turned around mid-flight due to disruptive passengers. Issues arose when the two passengers allegedly tried to help themselves to two unused business class seats. They reportedly refused to prove they had the tickets for the seats, sparking a heated argument. The flight was canceled after return to New York. Affected passengers were given a meal voucher, hotel accommodations, and arrangements to complete their journey. The unruly passengers were not charged as a result of the incident. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I'll be pissed if my flight got canceled because some idiot wanted to go ahead and upgrade themselves to first class or business class or whatever. Are you kidding me? I'll definitely be filing a lawsuit against these people or the airlines themselves. It's unacceptable. You can't just do that. I mean, I'm no perfect person. I've been on probably hundreds of flights at this point in my life. And yeah, like anybody else, I want to have as much room as possible. Sometimes I do it myself. I go on to like a next seat across from me if it's empty, nobody's sitting there or whatever. And the best I'm hoping for is the guy next to me doesn't show up. But never in my life would I go ahead and just, help myself to a business class seat. And if you get caught, where's your self-respect? Out of embarrassment. And would you not consider everybody else on the flight? Imagine the level of like aggression or just craziness that had to be going on the flight for them to turn around the plane and go back to New York. Wait. I got one more. So this next act has got to be one of the most selfish acts I've ever seen in my entire life. I'll let you know right now the details are a bit graphic, but listen to this first.
You committed the ultimate act of betrayal, leaving your baby terrified, alone, unprotected, to suffer what I heard was the most gruesome death imaginable. You left your baby, Jalen, trapped in a pack and play without food and water for 10 days. This wasn't simply an oversight. I'm going to sentence you to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
And that was some of the top stories from around the Philippines. As I mentioned earlier, if you want to get daily news content, daily updates about life in the Philippines or neighboring countries, check out my brand new channel. I posted the link in the description down below and in the comment section. You probably won't be able to find it via search because it's brand new. So if you type in Asia now, it may not come up. And leave your comments down below. Let me know which of these stories surprised you, you're interested in, anything that resonated with you. If you take the time to write it, I take the time to respond. And that's it. I'll see you guys tomorrow with our regular interview content. I have an interesting one for you guys, so be sure to be subscribed. Turn on bell notifications. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.